Moadim L'Simcha, a good yantiv. Yizkor on Pesach comprises a brief moment at the end of this glorious holiday in which we express in the ancient tongue of Hebrew words that we've secretly been thinking about already from the beginning of the holiday, indeed at the Seder. And we know them to be true, even if we don't speak much Hebrew. What we are truly saying at Yizkor is Yizkor, Ezkor, I remember. I remember those incomparable foods that my mother used to serve us at the Seder in my youth. And although I've participated in countless Seders ever since, over the years, I have still never eaten anything so delicious, so unique. Nothing ever came close. I remember Father leading us in the traditional songs of the Seder, animating the text for us, giving us the feeling that we too were in Egypt. In fact, I remember him telling us that if you look carefully at the pictures in our large Haggadah, which was Father's pride, all of our pictures could actually be seen in her wine-stained pages as well. I remember that new suit that I wore with such pride. Mom personally took me all the way to the Lower East Side to Klein's Coats and Dresses, that huge haberdashery which had emblazoned on their storefront the words, "For the best dressed men and women." We all look at our Seder tables, and this year, many of us looked alone, with nobody else to join us. But we still look with our personal memories and think quietly to ourselves, boy, what I would do to have Mom and Dad here with me again. As a rabbi, I have been asked many times over the years, why do we recite Yizkor on Yontif? After all, Jewish law normally mandates that we be especially happy on the holidays. That is why, for example, we do not recite Tachanun, that intense supplication right after the morning Shmona Esrei, the morning Amidah, and for fear that it might emote sadness. In fact, we replace it with Hallel, songs of joy and happiness and praise. We also delete during the holidays other prayers such as Tikkun Chatzot or Lamanatseach, having to do with the destruction of the temple. In fact, the Yom Tov of Pesach is so joyous that we don't recite Tachanun, that prayer I just spoke about, for the entire month of Nisan. But Yizkor is okay. What gives? It occurred to me that perhaps not reciting Yizkor would be more disheartening. We mention the memories of our parents, not to make us cry or become maudlin, but rather to remember that we are who we are in large measure because of our parents. And our children are who they are because of us and them and their parents and their parents' parents, going all the way back to our humble beginnings as slaves in the land of Egypt. So especially on Pesach, not to mention our parents, our ancestors, would be a crime. Giving voice to our need to say, thank you, Mom, thank you, Dad, or sisters, or brothers, or grandparents, or other family members who may have predeceased us. In fact, fills our heart with a certain sense of happiness, even exhilaration. But we must remember, at the same time, that Judaism is not just about beautiful words, beautiful philosophies, and eloquent phrases. We don't just remember the names of our loved ones. Rather, we must also give practical expression to those words. This is why the whole holiday of Passover, it's not simply sufficient to talk about the Exodus at the Seder night. We must also, in conjunction with the recital of the Haggadah, eat matzah, eat maror, the bitter herb, drink the 4 cups of wine, and place a shank bone on the Seder plate. By transforming our words into a specific action or actions, we physically implement the teachings of the Torah into our minds and create a bond onto our very souls, our souls and the souls of our children or friends. What is the practical expression of Yizkor, you may ask? Very simple. It is tzedakah. It is only through tzedakah, charity, donation of funds to the less fortunate, that we can demonstrate to our parents, who are undoubtedly looking down upon us from heaven during Yizkor, that we can tell them proudly, yes, Mom, yes, Dad, you have succeeded. We too are following in the great traditions of our people, and we engage in Torah study. We engage in the performance of the various mitzvot. Ultimately, we fulfill that most important mitzvah of Yiddishkeit, of tzedakah, of charity, with true joy and gladness and exuberance. To whom should we contribute our tzedakah? Undoubtedly, there are many worthy causes out there which deserve our attention. But my mother always used to remind us that charity begins at the home, in the home. We are honored, all of us, to belong to a wonderful institution called Kol Barama, which serves as our spiritual home in Santa Fe. So you see, Yizkor is not a time for sadness or heartache. It is, in fact, if properly understood, a time of jubilation, of inspiration, and of communion with our loved ones in a happy setting. And ultimately, it is yet another milestone on that road leading to the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu, the Messianic age. B'mheira b'yameinu, Amen v'amen.